This is the Worx model WG779, 40-volt, 14-inch cordless lawn mower. It is the first mower that let me ditch the power cord and quietly finish a front yard and a backyard without turning lawn care into a whole event. I see this as a compact, battery-powered push mower for smaller lawns. I live on a standard city lot with modest patches of grass in the front and the back, and this size hits the sweet spot. I am not trying to tame a field, and I do not want a heavy gas machine or a complicated setup. I want something I can grab, roll out, and be done before dinner. That is exactly how I use it. The design choices affect everyday life in ways I actually notice. The deck is narrow at around 14 inches, which means I make more passes than a big box store beast, but it weaves around garden beds and shrubs without me thinking about it. The whole mower is light enough that I carry it between the front and back yards without feeling like I am hauling equipment. The handle folds down into a compact shape. I do loosen and retighten 4 knobs when I store it on a shelf, and that takes a moment. As long as I pay attention to the control cable so it does not kink, it is a smooth routine. There is a single lever for cutting height, and it moves through a useful range from about 1.5 inches up to around 3.5 inches. I can bump it up when the weather gets hot and the grass wants a taller cut, then drop it down a notch for a tidier look in cooler weeks. The bag and the mulch plug are simple to swap, and I almost always leave the mulch plug in place. Setup was refreshingly straightforward. I charged the 2 batteries, slid them into the top compartment, and used the safety key and push button start. No pull cord, no fumes, and no warm up. The first time I used it, I was cutting within a few minutes of opening the box. The controls are intuitive. I hold the handlebar, press the button, and it spins up right away. It is not self-propelled, but the weight is so low that I do not miss the extra drive system on my yard. Turning at the end of a row feels natural, and the small deck makes edging along fences and around a tree in the front yard easier than my old bulky mower. On performance, battery life was the big surprise. I keep it in eco mode for routine maintenance, and on my lawn that means I can mow the front and back 4 to 5 times before I feel the need to recharge. That works out to charging the batteries roughly once a month, sometimes every 6 weeks, based on my schedule and how fast the grass grows. When I let the grass get unusually long, I switch to turbo. I did that once after a stretch of rain when I was away. In turbo, it chewed through the taller growth, but I only got 1 complete cut before the batteries were low, which I expected. For a weekly or every 10-day routine, eco is more than enough, and it really stretches the time between charges. I also like that I can swap batteries with other tools from the same brand. I have a trimmer and a drill from the same lineup, so in a pinch I can borrow a pack to finish a job and the chargers are shared. Cut quality has been consistent. In normal growth, it leaves a clean, even finish with no scalping and no ragged tips. The mulch plug does a good job of chopping clippings fine enough that they settle back into the lawn without clumping. I only used the collection bag once, during that long grass situation. The bag filled quickly, the grass was damp, and the mower shut off a couple of times. Emptying the bag and slowing my pace fixed it, but it reminded me that bagging wet, heavy clippings is not this mower's happy place. In dry, typical conditions with the mulch plug installed, it is an easy, steady cut with a uniform look. Noise is another strong point. It runs at a much lower sound level than a gas mower. I have neighbors with little kids, and I am comfortable mowing during nap windows because the sound is more of a steady hum than a roar. That low noise also changes how I feel when I mow. I do not wear ear protection for a quick cut, and I can hear what is going on around me. I tested it through a range of real scenarios. Weekly cuts take me about 20 minutes front to back at a relaxed walking pace. After a thunderstorm, when the grass still had some moisture, I raised the deck 1 notch, mulched, and then did a second lighter pass later that week to even everything out. In the fall, I ran it over a scattering of small leaves, and the mulch plug minced them well enough that I did not bother bagging. On a hot stretch in midsummer, I kept the height at the upper end so the grass would not stress, and the mower still kept up without complaint. I noticed that when I hit denser patches, the motor audibly pushed a little harder, then quietly eased off when I moved back into thinner grass. That automatic adjustment is subtle but effective. A specific use case that has become part of my routine is the quick midweek tidy. If I am hosting a friend in the backyard and the lawn looks a little shaggy, I pull the mower down from the shelf, pop the batteries in, and take about 10 minutes to refresh just the back lawn in eco mode. Because it is light and quiet, it feels effortless, not like I am starting a project. Another scenario is the recovery cut after a long break. After about 2.5 weeks of growth, I used turbo for the first pass, then switched back to eco the following weekend for a normal pass. The combination made the lawn look groomed again without me wrestling a heavy machine. There are thoughtful touches that actually help. The height lever is a single control, so I am not walking around adjusting each wheel. The handle locks are simple, and while loosening and tightening 4 knobs is not glamorous, it has never stripped or jammed on me. The batteries have clear indicators, so I know roughly how much power is left when I finish. The automatic power system, which the brand calls IntelliCut, increases torque in thicker spots and relaxes in lighter areas, which not only smooths out the cut, but also saves battery life in a way that I can feel. The ability to share batteries across tools has real value if I am already invested in the brand, and it has saved me a few times when I forgot to recharge. It is not perfect. The narrow deck means I take more passes than a wide mower, especially on the front lawn. The bagging experience is not great in damp conditions, and if I let the bag overfill, the mower will shut down to protect itself, which forces me to stop and empty it. The height lever has a reassuring resistance, though on a cold day it feels a touch stiff. None of these things are deal breakers for my yard, but they are real parts of living with it. This mower makes sense for people like me who want a compact, light, quiet tool for small to medium lawns, who value easy storage, and who like the idea of sharing batteries across a few yard tools. If I were dealing with thick, overgrown grass every single time, or if I needed to cover a very large property, I would probably want something wider and possibly self-propelled. For the way I actually live and cut, this Worx model WG779 40-volt, 14-inch cordless lawn mower has been reliable, efficient, and pleasantly low maintenance. If this video helped, please subscribe to the channel and leave a comment with your questions or your own experience. Thank you for watching.